What if I told you that the perfect candidate to be the Cowboys head coach in the future is already someone that they're familiar with? I'm talking about the grandson of Baum and the son of Wade Phillips and current Minnesota Vikings offensive coordinator. Hey, what is up, everyone? Welcome to A to Z Sports. I'm Mauricio Rodriguez, and we are talking head coaching candidate Wes Phillips. Now, I gotta admit right off the bat, this is not a name that I came up with. Shout out to Stevie over at Cowboys Due Diligence on Twitter/X, whatever you want to call it. He brought this up a while back, and I cannot stop thinking it is a good idea. Listen, on the one hand, I could see this being a realistic target for Dallas based on the fact that they're familiar with him. As the son of Wade Phillips, he had been on the roster already back in 2007, and he was with the Cowboys all the way until 2013. By then, Jason Garrett was already the head coach of the team. So even surviving that transition from Phillips to Garrett speaks about the Cowboys appreciating him. But the best part of Phillips is that after his stay in Dallas, he went to Washington. Now, at the time, Washington had just seen Kyle Shanahan leave for the Atlanta Falcons head coaching job, and they had promoted Sean McVay to be their offensive coordinator. Phillips was the tight ends coach for McVay, later followed him in the same position as McVay went to the LA Rams to be their head coach. And by the time the Rams went on their Super Bowl run in 2021, Phillips was a passing game coordinator for that team. And let's be honest, if you're the Cowboys and you're looking for a head coach around the league, you need to be intrigued by the McVay-Shanahan gene, by that style of offense. Now, granted, Phillips does not call the plays for the Minnesota Vikings because that is the job of none other than Kevin O'Connell. But I got to be honest with you, Cowboys Nation, I'm not worried by it. Let's just look at the resume for some of these coaches. Kevin O'Connell went from being a quarterback coach to passing game coordinator and offensive coordinator. And by the time he became a head coach, he had not called plays up until that moment. Mike McDaniel, he was a run game coordinator for the 49ers, later promoted to offensive coordinator. Shanahan called the plays, became the head coach of the Dolphins, and has been a solid play caller. The same with McVay. He did call plays in Washington, to be fair, but later became the head coach, had never done that, and was already successful with Washington. So when I look at Wes Phillips, even though he is behind Kevin O'Connell, I'm all in his skill set to call plays. Now, I reached out to Minnesota Vikings writer for A to Z Sports, Tyler Fornes, for some insight as to what he does, what he doesn't do, and he told me while it's difficult to know because he doesn't call the plays, there's a big difference between the O'Connell offense and the McVay-Shanahan offense, and I'm pretty convinced that Cowboys fans will like this. And that is that they like to attack. Think about this. Sam Darnold, yes, Sam Darnold ended up as first in the NFL in completions over 20-plus yards, completion rate, yards per attempt, you name it, they like to go downfield. So if you're talking to me about head coaching candidates, I would much rather roll the dice on a Shanahan McVay type coach, and that might be Wes Phillips. And I could see it happening should the Cowboys move on because they're familiar with them. We've learned with Dallas, that's one of the things you need. If you don't have that, then you better have previous head coaching experience. In the case of Wes, we should hope that they like the fact that they're familiar with them. So let me know what you think about this candidate, and I'll be in the comment section later today to see what your take is.